This is Seoul, the capital of South Korea. We just spent our first week visiting this extraordinary city and so far we love it. Exploring and walking around the city has been a treat. So much going on, so much to see. It is now the beginning of March, and despite the fact that winter is still lingering and spring hasn't quite arrived yet, the city is full of life. Everywhere you look, you find huge monuments, beautiful parks, incredible buildings, and lots of people. One interesting thing that I was not expecting about Seoul is how many coffee shops there are. There are literally thousands of coffee shops everywhere, which was great because we love coffee. Today, I wanted to give you a quick preview of some of what Seoul has to offer and show you some of the coolest places that we have explored so far. Let's start with the Sungnyemun Gate. Located between Seoul Station and Seoul Plaza, the Sungnyemun Gate was once one of the three major gateways through the city walls, which expanded over 18 kilometers or about 11 miles and stood 20 feet high. Dating back to the 14th century, the gate itself is made of granite blocks with a wooden second floor and roof and stands about 60 feet tall and 70 wide. A brightly colored painting of two dragons decorate the ceiling of the inner part of the gate, which can be traversed from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, with the exception of Mondays when the gate is closed. About a 5 minutes walk from the Sungnyemun Gate, we arrive at the Bank of Korea fountain. As the name suggests, the fountain is located right across the street from the Bank of Korea building and the Bank of Korea Money Museum. The fountain, which unfortunately was not running during our visit, is decorated with bronze statues and offers a very nice resting place right in the midst of the city chaos. Seoul is an amazing city and we will continue to explore it together as time goes on, but if you're enjoying the video so far, you should probably subscribe to our channel now so you won't miss out on any of the amazing places that we'll visit together. Moving on, just about 3 blocks away is the Deoksugung Palace. The Deoksugung Palace is open daily from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and the entrance ticket costs 1,000 won, which is just under $1. Despite being located right in the middle of Seoul, once you get past the main entrance gate, it is surprising how tranquil and quiet it feels inside. The Cheonggyecheon Hall was the most important building within the Deoksugung Palace. This was the throne hall and where the emperor officially met with his subjects and greeted important envoys from overseas. It was also the place for ceremonies and coronations. The sun, the moon, and the mountains can be seen behind the throne, and right above it we find 2 dragon statues representing the power of the emperor. The ceiling itself was very impressive. Painted in red and green, the intricate wood carvings appear to imitate the waves of the sea. Looking up, decorating many of the roofs are the Japsang, which are the small animal figurines on the ridges of the roof. They are believed to protect against misfortune and fires. For many centuries, most buildings in Korea were mainly made out of wood, and the risk of fire would have been a constant danger always looming over the city, hence the presence of the Japsang. We visited on a Tuesday afternoon, and as you can see, the palace grounds were mostly empty, and our visit was very relaxed and enjoyable. I would imagine that if you were to visit during the weekend, it would be a little busier. There are a number of interesting buildings spread out throughout the palace grounds. A surprising feature, however, is that unlike any other palace in Korea, here we find a mix of traditional Korean and Western architecture. The palace consists of about 15 different traditional Korean buildings and 3 Western style ones. The traditional buildings are mostly empty inside, but the decorations of the different ceilings and walls were very beautiful. Next, we cross the street and head to visit the Seoul City Hall. Built in 2008, the City Hall building is actually open to the public. The building itself looks very interesting from the outside, which is what prompted us to look it up online and read about the beautiful garden walls inside. There's not a lot to see or do here, but if you feel like exploring, you can take the elevator all the way up to the top floor, where you'll find a little cafe where you can relax for a little while. Just around the corner we reach the Cheonggyecheon stream park. Cheonggyecheon is a 7 miles long stream that flows west to east through downtown Seoul and passes under a total of 22 bridges before flowing into the Hangan River, with many attractions along the way. I think it's great when modern cities make the effort to preserve small pockets of nature where people can relax and feel at peace. All through the day, you can see people going for walks, resting, meeting with friends, or just on the lunch break, all enjoying this quiet place. Our next stop is the Dongdaemun Design Plaza. Designed by the world-renowned architect Zaha Hadid, this giant neo-futuristic structure made of concrete and steel resembles a giant mushroom floating above ground level. The Dongdaemun Design Plaza, known as the DDP, is the centerpiece of Dongdaemun, which is South Korea's fashion district. The plaza features many exhibition rooms, retail stores, walking spaces, and parks. Walking into one of the buildings, the design lab, they had on some sort of exhibition based around what I imagine would be a kids' TV show, since there were a lot of families there. Across from the design lab, we walked into the museum, which had a Korean history exposition at the time. All around the plaza there were tons of people, couples going for walks, and many families with their children playing and having a great time. Moving around Seoul using the metro is super easy. Tickets are about $1 each way, and trains run every couple of minutes, plus the whole metro system is super clean. A few metro stops away, right next to Incheon Station, we arrive at the War Memorial of Korea. The first thing we realized as we arrived at the War Memorial of Korea is that this place is huge, much bigger than I expected, which makes sense in a way once you consider the long history and impact war has had within Korea. This open square is a monument to all the participating nations of the Korean War. It was built in 2015 to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the United Nations and to express the gratitude of the Korean people to the countries that participated in the Korean War. The memorial is open from 9:30 in the morning until 6 in the afternoon, and it's free to enter every day. Among the many sculptures and monuments, there were a few that stood out to us not only aesthetically but also because of the message behind them. One example is the Peace Clock Tower. Constructed in bronze, the Peace Clock Tower symbolizes the desire to overcome the tragedy of war and achieve peaceful unification. Two young girls hold twin clocks on top of the wreckage of weapons such as tanks and shells used during the Korean War. The clock on the shoulder of the girl standing indicates the present time, and the clock held by the girl sitting is stopped at 4 a.m. on June 25, 1950, the moment the war began. Here we see the statue of the brothers. The statue shows the moment when an older brother, an officer in the South Korean army, and his younger brother, a soldier in the North Korean People's Army, dramatically find each other on the battlefield during the Korean War. Another interesting exhibition is the open-air exhibition of large military equipment. Here we see examples of the equipment deployed during the war, from the giant B-52D bomber plane to all the different designs of tanks and assault vehicles. Look how small it is.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Your long legs would definitely be able to drive.
Lastly, we have the Korean War Monument itself, which was built in 2003 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the armistice of the Korean War. The dagger-shaped bronze sculpture symbolizes the long military history of the Korean people, and around it we see 38 bronze statues called the Patriotic Heroes, which represent the spirit of sacrifice and patriotism of people of all walks of life who participated in the Korean War. Hopping on the metro once more, we head to our last stop, the Starfield Library. Located right next to the Bonjeonsa metro station and within the Starfield Coex Mall is the Starfield Library. The library is apparently one of the hottest places on social media in Seoul, so there were a lot of people everywhere. And I can see why. It's really cool. So today it's been snowing / raining kind of. So we decided to spend the day inside. So we traveled to the Starfield Library, which is right behind us. It's 2 levels and there are books everywhere. We're gonna try to find the English books, and if there's any, and then maybe get a coffee and some cake. There's a cake store up there that looks really...
2 or 3 coffee shops. There's coffee shops everywhere.
Everywhere. So we're gonna find the English section, pick an interesting book, get a coffee, a piece of cake, and then read for a little bit and relax. The library is open from 10:30 in the morning until 10 p.m. and it consists of a large open space surrounded by impressive 40 feet high bookshelves lined with over 70,000 books across 2 floors. The library is a public space, so anyone can freely come in, sit down, take a break, and just grab one of the many books lining the shelves and just read it. As you would expect, the vast majority of the books are in Korean. However, some of the sections of the library are dedicated to foreign books and some of the famous writers. There are also hundreds of the most popular magazines, domestic and foreign, all available for reading. Going up to the second floor, we ended up finding a small table, got some coffee, and spent a few hours catching up on various magazines. We had such a good time. Today for dinner we decided to get some sushi. We're inside I guess a huge shopping center, and they have this sushi, what are they called this? Conveyor belt.
Yeah.
So we're having sushi and soup, some miso soup, which is actually very tasty.
It's a lot going on.
A lot going on, lots of color. The fact that you made it this far means that you enjoy learning about cool and interesting places. So you should probably subscribe to our channel now so you continue to get amazing videos like this one. In any case, I'm glad you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.